Hey YouTube, Not So Slim Jim. So I'm sure a couple of you saw my video. By couple, I mean literally a couple. Watch more of my videos. Anyways, I did the TandemKross trigger for install for the Ruger 5.7. Now I tried to make it as YouTube friendly as possible, but of course they didn't like it, so I got demonetized, and it's probably going to happen in this one too. But anyways, the guys at TandemKross said, hey dude, that's not a bad video. And it turns out TandemKross had their own installation video on their website, so I feel stupid because you're a dumbass. But regardless, I put the video out anyways. And the guys at TandemKross liked my video so much, they said, hey fat guy, you want to try out a couple of our other 5.7 products and see if you like them? I said, sure, I like free stuff. So they sent me out a couple magazine extensions, which YouTube, still less than 30 rounds, so it's perfectly fine to put on your platform, stop being a bunch of fools, and a couple of their sights. Well, in this video, I'm going to be testing out their magazine extensions. Now, I'm not going to be doing it at the range or with live ammo. I'm going to be doing it how other people don't test them, because everyone's already shot them and they know that they work fine. I want to see how they work in more adverse situations. So I'm doing what I call the Texas torture test. I'm going to be dropping them a whole bunch on concrete. I'm going to be exposing them to a whole bunch of heat, and I'm going to be doing a drag test. Now, first I'm going to start off by doing the drop test, because we're all at the range and we like to practice like we fight, or at least be tactical and do our little mag flips and look nifty. Then I'm going to throw them in an oven. But why do we do this, you say? Well, I've had magazines in the past not exactly work the greatest, where I'll leave them in my range bag in my car overnight during the summer, or I'll leave them in my passenger side door because I always keep spare mags around, and I come out, the rounds flowing over my vehicle, a mag over here, a follow over there, a magazine body on my back seat, because sometimes magazine extensions that are polymer or plastic tend to fail. So I want to see, will these hold up, which we'll see. They look like they're pretty strong, but it's always good to test. Can you drop the hell out of them a bunch of times and not have them break? And if you're going to, let's say, be in a firefight, or let's say you're working on your car, you forgot to take your gun off, or whatever the situation is, and you're going to be dragging it around because it extends out and it's going to be dragging across stuff in the back, how resistant is it to abrasion? So let's go ahead and get started on dropping the crap out this thing. All right, me being 6'5", taller than most people, by doing this, it's going to be a little bit more of a test than standard. Now, first of all, YouTube, this is an unloaded weapon. I have no magazines in here because we're going to be dropping the magazines. It's usually when they're empty. So this is going to be done with a person who has thousands of hours of firearms training in a safe manner, in a controlled environment. So shut up and stop being a bunch of dicks, YouTube. And we're going to be dropping the hell out of this. Let's see how it holds up. So first off, let's go ahead, drop the slide, pretend like we're doing something tactical, and drop, and drop, and force drop, and flip, power drop. All right, well, we have a failure in the drop test. Now, I was dropping these harder than you would normal, but the fact is that I did drop it and I didn't throw it down. I went like that with my firearm, and if you can see, the body separated. Looks like one of the tabs decided with the inertia to kick out, and in the back there's a little plastic feedy. One of them broke off, and the magazine completely separated. So is this what I would call combat ready? Absolutely not. Not if that happens when you drop it hard. So is it good for everyday carry? There's a possibility, but with having these 4 places exposed, as you saw, this did pop off, and I didn't even get to my hard drops yet. I was still just doing my pop down releases, and it gave up, and this is still brand new in a, well, relatively new magazine. So did not pass the power drop test for the Texas torture. Let's go ahead and heat this guy up and see what it can do with some temperature. And I'm going to be loading this with, because I want it to be underneath pressure, with empty 9mm casings. I'm going to fill it all the way up, fill it full of 9mm casings, and see how it holds up under pressure and under heat. Alright, a little sunnier in front of the house, but for my final test, seeing the fact it didn't fare as well in the drop test. Now, I was a little hard on it, but regardless, I told the guys I'd give my honest truth. We're going to be doing the drag test. Now, I have the magazine on a bit of string. And
do you accept bits of string?
I taped off the body because even if I destroy this guy, I actually want to reuse these really expensive magazines. Ruger. Less expensive. People will buy more guns if magazines are cheaper. Hear me, Ruger. I know we talked before. Cheaper, less expensive. Anyways, so I'm going to drag this up and down my street here in Texas. It's like 70, late December, whatever. So what better way to drag it than on a tiny little scooter? All right, so I dragged this guy for about 500-600 meters until the string broke off. I actually damaged the body in the magazine because I didn't tape it well enough. But hopefully you can see it. It took a pretty good beating, and it is thoroughly scuffed up, but it did not fall apart. So it did pass the drag test. So overall, I would say the only issue I see is the little pieces in the back that hold the body in and keep this from sliding off. Probably need to be increased a little bit because one of them completely sheared off and the other one is almost completely gone. And that happened mostly during the drop test. The drag test did a pretty good deal of removing the remainder of them. So I would say for everyday carry, these aren't too bad. But if you're going to be doing something where you're going to be a little bit more extreme on these, maybe if TandemKross did a little bit more upgrade and increased this back portion a little bit. I know especially when you have these inside of the firearm itself, which I taped the ever living out of this thing. So let me try to get this off. Edit! Now that I got the tape off, once again, clear weapon, nothing in there. When you put these magazines in, it has that little bit of back rattle and there's an open space. If they were to put a little bit of plastic in the back here that fit into the back well of the pistol itself and kept it going backwards, that would, one, put better stability on the firearm, keep it from moving, and also do additional support in the back here, which I think would probably keep this from falling apart when I was doing the drop test. So that's my conclusions. This isn't a review on this. This is just me observing while I was being extremely brutal on this extension. And as usual, if any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down in the comment section.